that they have a way forward for Kenya. They need to go away, leave us alone. Kenyans have better things to do. So I am proud of you guys. We're all here united in one thing. We have different opinions, but one thing we're doing is that we're debating things that probably in the last 5 years or even 10, 15, 20, we would not have been seen openly discussing in the way we're doing it today, you know? So I feel that, in fact, I'm actually proud of the mainstream media at the moment because they've held their place and they've exposed what is happening in the last few days. Viva, viva, viva to the young people of Kenya. Viva.
Ellie, I think it would be nice that you leave your camera open because all of us have been listening to you, your camera closed. Um, First of all, let me begin by saying
Okay, my
that
camera is there. You happy
perfect,
now?
perfect. Thank you so much. Let me begin by saying first that you have articulated issues very well, and I just have a difference of opinion and a correction in a few things that you mentioned. First of all, when I think I was the one who referred someone who is slightly older than my daughter, and you took that as an offense. And I think you missed the point that I did not generalize that generation, that we were talking from a context. And I know you talked about literature, and you know literature you have to speak from a context referring the present and the future. So in this case we were speaking from a particular video that we played. A fairly young kid who is probably slightly older than my daughter, and that was the reference. So I hope that is corrected and that is not patronization as you label it and profile it. So the other thing you
Point
mentioned,
taken. Point taken. Thank
the
you.
other thing I want to correct you is that your generalization that the police terrorize communities is misplaced. It is actually because of those police that we have sanity and security and order in our country. And more often we generalize that police are bad. Police are good. And I can tell you, I've lived abroad for 17 years and I've come in contact with police, and they have been very helpful to me. Even when I've been wrong, there was a time I was caught in Ohio speeding about 160, and the police were very nice to me and they did not
Wait,
impound
wait, wait,
me.
wait, wait, wait. Listen, my friend.
No,
So,
no, let me
when
correct
did
what
you leave Kenya? When did you leave Kenya the first time?
I was when I was about 23 years. So
Which year? Which year was this?
uh, we are in the public, and you want me to tell you my age?
Yes, yes. There's nothing. If you have nothing to hide yourself, just go ahead.
Of
Which
course,
year did you leave Kenya?
I left 2006. Okay,
Okay,
so
I left Kenya in 1993. How is that
absolutely,
for me to keep some change?
uh,
February
uh,
1993. That's
and,
the
and
first time I left Kenya. I was 19.
yeah, but my point is that
And so what I'm saying is, this thing about how long ago you left Kenya, and then we start competing about how many years I've been here, you've been here,
no,
and
no,
all
no,
this, but about
Ellie,
police.
you're missing the point. What I'm
No, I'm not losing it. What I'm
actually,
saying,
actually, you
what I'm
are.
saying, what I'm
It is,
saying,
it is
you
my
know,
point.
and I know
Allow me to
that the
put it.
police in Kenya are very corrupt,
That is a fact that is indisputable.
including
But
during
that
times of
doesn't mean,
protests. They kill
but that
people, they
doesn't
shoot
mean,
to kill.
but that doesn't mean that every police is corrupt. You're generalizing that. And that's the
Most
warning
of
that
them
I'm
are.
giving to you. Most of them, that doesn't mean all. That's why most of them, just like the clip that we saw, and someone underlined may, most may might change a meaning in a sentence, and you know that. So this idea of painting Kenyan police as evil police officers is actually misguiding. And my point of saying that I've been here for a while, I've seen Black people getting into trouble because of profiling. You talked about profiling, racial profiling in this case. But more often, it is because of their reaction towards the police that actually validates the opinion on the stereotype of the police to react the way they react. And the reason why I gave my example,
You're so conservative for a
no,
young
I'm not
person like you
conservative. I'm not
to
conservative.
to
I'm
to
just
no.
Haley, I
You
listened when you
now
were
you see
talking.
you're trying to divert
I'm a good
us. Can I
listener.
have 2 seconds to just respond to
Be a
you?
good listener. Let me put my point, and then you will have your moment.
No, but
Uh,
you're making too many. You're saying so many things that don't make sense. You're trying
just
to
like you
say
did,
that
just like
black
you did,
people.
and I gave you time. Just like
No,
you did,
what you?
a lot of things didn't
Okay,
make sense.
I'll
I
shut
was
up.
very patient. Thank you. I was very patient to wait for a moment. So what I'm trying to say is that we cannot talk about police officers and generalize them and put them in one box and say all of them are evil. The police officers do a wonderful job to protect our property, to protect life, and actually allow our day-to-day activities to go on smoothly because of their presence and them being in uniform. However, there are also bad police officers. They are bad cops. You know, they're bad cops. That is indisputable. Are there Kenyan police who are bad cops? Absolutely yes. Are there Kenyan police officers who are corrupt? Absolutely yes. Are there citizens of the Republic of Kenya who are bad? Yes. Are there citizens of the Republic of Kenya who are criminals more than the police officers who commit crimes, heinous crimes than the police officers? Yes. Now, I wanted to just to bring you back and say, you have a point. I agree. Some police officers terrorize. Some police officers go overboard, use excessive forces, because as well they are human beings who also have fear when they are approached with the multitude. The other generalization, the other thing that I actually absolutely agreed with you 100% is that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is not innocent. You know, they are part of that bill, especially to do with land, that actually was implemented and was kept silent, that now we are going to put it in law. But if you go back to what Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta presided, for example, the pilot titling project that he presided over, especially in Eastlands and Kitengela and the other parts of the country. If you look inside that title deed, there are bylaws, and part of those bylaws say that the county government of Nairobi at any time will start collecting rent from the land that you own. Because why? Because there are bylaws that are set, and as you sign that title deed, you agree to it. But what is now in the bill, we look at Ruto as a monster and not looking back and see that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta had already done it. And the other thing I
No,
just
can I
wanted to,
stop you there? But we know
I'm
about the
actually
land rates. We know about the land rates,
finished.
and but we know
I've
that
actually
this
finished.
in this
I've finished.
financial bill,
Wait,
there was
area,
going to be an additional rates that was going to be charged at a
I've
certain
finished.
percentage. I
I've
think 4%
finished, man.
to
I've
any
finished.
person who owns land. So
I've
can you say
finished.
something about that? Don't do
Uh,
propaganda, my friend.
I'm not, and I wanted to correct you on that. So you actually made an allegation, outrageous allegation, that the government, the people who raped women, allegedly are linked with the government. You know, they were paid. You know, you are making statements that you cannot authoritatively quantify or substantiate. You suspect that that might have happened. You could easily also say that the people who are looting every property or in the CBD were probably agents of the government to make the protesters look bad. Now that is what is called propaganda. You understand? That is now what is called propaganda. We have seen in history people who are bad. We have demonstrators who mean well for the
Take the
country.
example of Gideon Bovi saying that mavi zilitupwa na wale watu wakati wa Jubilee na sijui ODM sijui nini pale, walikuwa naenda rally, alafu wale watu wa kina supporters wa Jubilee walileta mavi wakaweka hapo kwa rally hapo pale kwa ile venue. Nani akasema hata magari zilikuwa zinachomwa na pesa ilikuwa ya watu wa Jubilee. And Sonko said that was not propaganda. He said he had facts that had been sent to do these things. So we have a historical precedence in this. So when I say that state securocrats are used to perform such heinous crimes, you still don't believe it. But you're a propaganda machine, so I can understand where you're coming from. Go ahead.
No, I think
I think we can allow Makiadi to give his opening remarks.
Yeah, I'm finishing so that Makiadi can come in. You know, early we can disagree to agree. You don't have to label people to be propaganda, to be like we are propagandists. When we, and that is what is called, when there's a difference of opinion, it doesn't make any person or less of a person. It means that's democracy. And for you to say that we are only, I think our argument here is that the people who came to demonstrate did the right thing. We agree that the bill is not in its entirety, or part of the bill is not good for the country. We have agreed that. I don't know why you have selective listening. What we are saying is that when people come to demonstrate, it's only nice that they demonstrate and don't loot and destroy the property, because at the end of the day, it goes to the pocket of the taxpayer. How does that one make us propagandists? You know, unless there's a different definition of propagandists, if you may help me understand that.
I will respond to you very briefly. I agree with you that when people are out protesting peacefully, because that was the tag of the protest, there should be nothing but peaceful protesting, because damaging property or costing businesses is something which basically, personally, I don't agree with. It doesn't help the economy. In fact, I even, I was not amused by the way Parliament was, for example, stormed and things broken, things smashed and all that, or people's houses, politicians' homes being burnt and stuff like that. I would rather they would have arrested, citizens' arrest of the likes of Martha Koome, Mutai Nguni, David D, and all these propaganda machines that surround William Ruto, all these political fellows. I would rather those young people would have done staged citizens' arrest rather than damaging property or infrastructure, because that's just a nonsense. I am one of those people who believe that, for example, statues represents history, and I've seen pictures where certain very, very old monuments were desecrated, and I think that's really awful. But that's just my personal opinion. Investors have put money, small or big, into their economic activities in the town or in towns. And I don't like to glamorize Nairobi. I'm talking about Kenya as a whole, even other places like Eldoret and so on and so forth. I don't mind William Ruto's, portrait being pulled down, but, things like, because that's a sign of protest. You're saying, I don't like this leader. He can go to hell.
That is
Yeah,
anarchy.
but no, if you give me time, I'm just responding. I'm saying that if I don't like Ruto, I can say I don't want his face, like portrait, just looking at me staring. I just don't like him. That's fine. But to go ahead and torch buildings and things like that, I think doesn't make sense. And in fact, I'm proud of people in Nyanza that this time they've maintained some kind of decorum in that aspect, and this is very good. Because when push comes to shove, they would have done it, but they maintained their cool, and that was good. Because this protest was devolved, and everyone was looking to see, oh, Kisumu, Kondele, wamefanya nini this time? This is something we're used to, where Luos are, for example, being condemned and profiled. But my point, and I agree with you, that the way that people decided to now go and destroy things is not a good thing. But for me, I also think that was part of state securocrats who have mingled, infiltrated. In fact, when Gachagua said that these young people were infiltrated, Gachagua, in his way of not cooperating with Ruto at the moment, is simply saying that state securocrats have infiltrated the young people, and they're the ones performing these acts. I know you will not agree with this, but it's a fact. It's not what you call propaganda from my side. You're saying that I'm citing things that are not provable, but we know that in the long run, people will accept that is what is happening. You see, you're being led by someone who is a total liar, is a pathological liar. Everyone knows this, that William Ruto does not mind to say 1,000,000 or 1,000 lies just to keep going. We know this. You know this. The people of Eldoret, they've rejected him. People in Nairobi, people in various cities in Kenya, they've said enough. They've rejected him. I doubt if he has any support from the rank and file of the military or the police. I think they're all fed up because this man doesn't know when to stop. And to be honest, if I was Mr. Ruto today, I would just do a honorable thing and step down. An hour before Ruto so-called withdrew the bill today, I was in another platform where I actually proposed that was the best thing he could do, was to just basically destroy that financial bill. And at least he has done that. But of course, we know that he's a man full of games. This person should not be anywhere near power. And for him to sit there or to stand there talking about treason, that treasonous behavior of the protesters, this is a man who, through treason, he took power. We know this. You know it. We know it. Okay. He's doing double speak. And, I'm saying that enough is enough. Mr. Ruto should step down. Thank you.
The remote. I know you're still here. Miss is also here. The two of you really miss this microphone. You people have been missing for long. Let us maybe the last time Makiadi was to speak, he was engaged somewhere. I can see he's now free. Let us listen to him. Then tunaweza enda chain mzalendo simu alisahau kukumute. But I know you can speak till hours because you people like Mise was here 2 months ago, so I understand the task that you people have. Let us listen to Makiadi alafu tuendelee before he will forget the points. You might
Safi, my brother.
Yeah.
Thank you Leo. Umefanya kazi mzuri sana kuintervene. Hawa ndugu zangu Eli na Mise ni kama hawangewachana. They were going for each other's inaitangwa jugular. Good to see you Eli. Mise, good to see you. Mzalendo, Leo, and all the people in the comment section. Naona Black amejaribu kunitetea hapo hata mimi nipate nafasi ya kuongea. Thank you my brother. I see you. Yeah, so a bit of rebuttals. I was listening to Misa giving his submission, and I think Misa, you are trying so much to justify mediocrity, which is very unfortunate. The video that you're trying to show us here is a non-starter. That's something that you cannot even, give to intelligent people as a reason why police should be shooting our sons and our daughters in the streets. That's not even an enough reason for you to come and display that on the screen here and tell us that the police were being provoked. I don't know if you understand what it means to picket. There's demonstration and then there's picketing. That young lady did not do anything wrong to the police officers. These people are trained. They are trained to encounter such actions. I think if you talk to anybody that has been in the forces, you are hardened. You are hardened. Part of the training of military and police officers is being hardened to withstand that without totally reacting. And so it is unfortunate that people are being killed in our country. It is very unfortunate. I think when you start telling us Uhuru was a monster, I did not see Uhuru Kenyatta releasing the military to go and kill people in the streets. I did not see that. We cannot compare Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto. They might have been worse, both of them together, but William Ruto is even much worse than Uhuru Kenyatta was. Don't compare the two. We are only 2 years, maybe you are heading into the 3rd year of William Ruto's rule, and people are fed up already. We can say with Uhuru Kenyatta, it was a bit different because there was a half of the country that was supporting Uhuru Kenyatta. Even when he did wrong, he still held his base. There are those people that stood with him, even in the times of distress and times of oppression. There are people. William Ruto has united the fours, opposite sides, people who do not even come together in opinion, in political opinion. He has managed to unite the youth together, people who never even cared about what goes on in the political arena in our country. So I think the finance bill was not just the start of the discontent and displeasure that people display to this government. And Missy, I don't know if you watch social media. Perhaps you should go to social media and see how these MPs behave. Kujipiga kifua. Huh? The way they spend your money, your taxes, the way they display money out there and show people that they have enough to spend the way they want and they can speak the way they want. Because they had never in their lives anticipated that one day this is going to happen. And I think this is a good point in our country because now we can start discussing real issues that affect our country. This thing that is happening in Kenya right now would have been easy. Ainge escalate ifike mahali imefika Misi. Jana tulikuwa na mzalendo hapa na tukasema it was as easy as raia wamekataa finance bill, wachana nayo, weka kando, rudi kwa drawing board, sikiza watu wanataka ni. It was as easy as that. Hatungefika hapa mahali tuko. Lakini wakati mmefikisha kiburi imefika mahali ambapo imefika saa hii. That is why we arrive to such situations whereby people say now we are past the period where we are going to have a discussion with you as a government. Huyu mtu ambaye anasema you postpone maandamano, kesho mkae chini msikizane naye. It was the same person mwenye alituambia hii serikali ni ya stakeholders. Akasema kama wewe si stakeholders, ukae kwanza stakeholders wagawane vyeo, wagawane utajiri ya nchi, alafu wewe ambaye ni voter wa pande ile nyingine ndio kuja sasa kuwa considered. Those such statements zilikuwa zina raise anger and emotions in the hearts of many. And so now this government is reaping what it sowed. I don't know why you guys are so much concerned about government buildings. Hiyo mjengo ilikuwa hapo na itakuwa hapo hata miaka ingine itakuja mingi sana. Mise, unatetea serikali, unatetea mjengo ya serikali ya nini? Wewe ulijenga parliament. Si umepata hiyo parliament imejengwa ikiwa hapo? You're talking about State House. State House is not a house ya Ruto. State House imekuwa, there are so many other presidents ambao wamekuwa hapo. If people decide to occupy State House, it is their right. It is their house. State House is a government building. The government is the people. It's not William Ruto. Hii mambo mumepatia. People in Kenya have so much respect for buildings and all that until inakuwa ni kitu kubwa sana raia kuenda kuingia kwa bunge. Inasemekana they have, how do you call this, mzalendo wewe ulisoma kizungu kidogo, ati kuchafua madhabahu kwa nini, kwa kizungu inasemangwa nini, there's a word nimesikia Wetangula ametumia hapo. It's like the parliament building has been defiled. Ni kama it's like it's a sacred place. They are forgetting one thing, that their existence is because of Mwananchi. It is because of the taxes that Mwananchi pay. And so we have to start having a discussion in our country. Yeah? I think this is a point of hii ndio point yenye tulikuwa tunatakana kuwa tumefika before even we ended up with people going to town and demonstrating and destroying and looting and all that. We should have had this conversation a long time ago. When I was watching Ruto giving this speech today, I looked at the MPs there. Most of them looked like idiots. They looked like idiots because they told us that we are not going to have a country. Missy, I know you know this because you also supported the finance bill. So you somewhere are discussing how the finance bill is going to change our lives and our country. The MPs were
That's a lie. You shouldn't lie. That's a lie. You've lied in very. I don't know who is the moderator. You should. These people begin with the Eli, begin with Makiadi. They have misquoted everything that we said. But it's okay.
Mzalendo Mise was somewhere telling us that the world will come to an end simply because if we fail to pass the finance bill, the Kenyan government is not going to operate. There will be no money to pay teachers. There will be no money to pay police officers. There will be no money to buy subsidized fertilizer. So mi nauliza nyinyi Mise na hii comrade yenye walikuwa.
I distance myself from those statements.
Relax brother. Relax, you have a chance to respond. Black anasema sijui ni consecrated area. So Mise, hii finance bill vile imekataa kusainiwa namna hii, did Kenya cease to exist? Mzalendo, remember we were here and there was somebody who came here and was telling us you have to give us amendments, otherwise without these amendments that you want to tell us where we are going to pull 1, 2, 3 and replace that, you guys are wasting your time because this thing is going to pass. The government has numbers, and they told us without this finance bill, then the government is going to cease to operate. The likes of Penny Nyagaka here, he told us here that the president should not listen to Gen Z because he is the one who is supposed to be making the decisions. These are the hardliners. Hawa ndio watu ambao anakaanga kando ya Ruto wakimpatia mawaidha mpaka anakuwa na kichwa kubwa, anafura kichwa kubwa. Anafikiria yeye sasa ndio the god, the best thing that happened to mankind, second to slice bread. Today the MPs looked stupid because they fought so hard. Wengine hata walipigwa mawe. Mzalendo, sijui kama umechezea watu hizo video leo, MPs wakichomolewa kwa nini ambulance. Sikia kuna mtu mmoja alisema Wetangula, speaker huyu wa bunge mwingine anaitwa nani huyu, Kingi na Gladys Shilei walitolewa hapo ni kama watu wako hali mahututi, you know. They went into the ambulance and they were covered as people who were dying, ndio watoroke hiyo mayhem ilikuwa hapo. So ile kujipiga kifua, mlikuwa mnajipiga kifua kwa bunge. Why couldn't you come out, mtembee, stroll, walk out with your vehicles, you know, drive out of parliament, because you've done a very good thing for Kenyans, something that everybody was yearning for. It was so disappointing to see, you know, wabunge wakiwa wamekaa hapo wanapiga makofi. And I think kuna mtangazaji mmoja ameuliza what about maendeleo, wanamuuliza maendeleo gani na mumekataa, maendeleo gani na mmekataa? GG from SMG, utaki kunisikia? Tulia tu, tulia tulia ni inject. So the MPs have learned that the power is with the people, and that is where we were supposed to be. It's too unfortunate that many lives had to be lost before we came to this understanding. Mzalendo, I want to finish here by saying, because naona kuna jamaa hapa anasema next person hataki kunisikia. You know, Kenya has shown the world, has shown the world and African countries that it can be done. It can be done. I was looking at some post from somewhere that you know, Ghana is also on the line. Museveni nasikia pia amerudisha finance bill yake kwa parliament ikwe discussed, waone ni nini watarekebisha. I think that is the way we are supposed to be going. That is the road. Hiyo ndio direction yenye tunafaa kuwa tunaenda kama Africa, because in African leadership, as long as you are president, then it means you will not listen to people. People are going to change that moving forward. And I think it is going to start in Kenya. And we are not in a situation whereby we should even allow this thing to be changed right now. Yani, mi mahali nimefika mise, you might not disagree, you might not agree with what I want to say here, but I can tell you here that people are not even no longer interested in talking to William Ruto. People are interested in getting rid of this government completely, from the top to the bottom. Wacha tuende tujulie mbele ni namna gani tutajisaidia, because these people have shown us that they will not listen to us unless they are pressed the way they were pressed yesterday. Thank you, Mzalendo.
Oh, Leo is not even there. We are Amanda Kalala PA. Okay, thank you, Makiadi, for that submission. But maybe one thing I have noted, because Eli kept on mentioning my name, Eli is still in the old dark days. He thinks that this country is in an election mode. This country is on a generational change of the way we used to do our things. You need to understand that very, very clearly. This is not about ODM politics, Azimio politics, and Kenya Kwanza politics. This is about a regime that was elected by the people, and it failed the same people who elected them on the promises that they gave the people. The people you are seeing on the streets, majority of them, a good number of them voted for William Ruto on the promises of the ASLA fund, on the promises of the SMEs financing that they were going to get from this same government, on the promises that they will sit on the same table and negotiate positions with the government. But you see, this government, what it did that is sad is that they forgot all that. They forgot all the promises that they made for the people, and they started accumulating wealth and showing off whatever they have amassed in just 2 years. Today, as we are speaking, the protest has gone even wild, and that is the direction we are saying. Banning the finance budget finance chairman's home in Molo and the chicken and everything else. I mean, that is not very, very necessary. Thugs are also taking advantage of the situation, I think when it comes to picketing, the Gen Zs have already proved that they can picket without destroying property. My honest opinion that those people who are destroying property are not part of this movement. This movement is a protest to about the finance bill and to remove Ruto from office. That is what, Eli, you should be addressing, why your generation failed in ensuring that we have good governance. So your generation should not even claim or
Nick, don't do those dichotomies with me that our generation failed, whatever failed.
I am telling you, my generation,
for me that's
failed. And
for me that's propaganda.
Own it up. You
no,
failed.
No.
Own it up. First, we vote on tribal lines, and you're here saying, me, I'm proud to be a Luo. I vote on as a Luo. What nonsense is that? What GNZ is telling you? GNZ is telling you we are tribeless. We don't be a tribe. We are tribeless. Then
there's no such thing as tribeless. Stop coming. You're in utopia. Utopia where acha hizo gazi za utopia. Okay. Be realistic, brother.
Nimekuchezea video hapa, Mr. Eli. You started saying I can see 80% are Luos and Kikuyus. Do these cops decide that wewe Mjaluo leo na kuua?
Hey, wait. So when do you want to show your video?
But those are the names of people who are killed.
Exactly. So Mimi, I'm just giving you back the information from what you have showed us.
And you gave a wrong impression.
What impression? What wrong impression?
Read those names there.
Put them back again. Let me see. This is not a joke. This is a serious issue. In fact, I'm very disappointed that Luos had to succumb to this again. After all that has happened in Luoland for the last, I don't know how many years. And all due respect to Kenyans who are on this platform, I don't care, about which community you're coming from. I'm just trying to stress a point. In fact, you're the one who showed us this video. And I profiled the names because that's the names that were there. Weka tuone. Na usianze kuwa na hasira ati kwa sababu tu mtu anasema kitu ambacho hutaki.
Ndakudownloadia hiyo video tena. I think I've deleted it.
Kwanza guys, let me just tell you something. This Nick here you see, Zalendo, is from my Gwen. This one is a relative. He's from my clan. Yani pale naishi kwetu na kwao, it's just a small distance.
We are Eli, with all due respect, I'll play for you that video. The names that you see in that video are for Kenyans. These are people who went out to demonstrate and they were killed by trigger-happy policemen who were not supposed to kill them. They were supposed to protect their lives. So this is what I'm telling you. These are people who are supposed to protect these innocent Kenyans. So when you try and say that, people from my community are the one who are dying, you need to get into the conversation with the GNZ and you realize that the kind of conversation that they are having, the kind of conversation that they are having is not the kind of conversation that we used to have yesteryears, the years that we used to politic. I have been part of this mess. I didn't realize that there could be a generation that will not think of tribe. I couldn't realize that there will be a generation who are not going to think of political parties at this particular moment. You have not hear of, you can't hear of Kenya Kwanza, you can't hear of Wiper Party, you can't hear of ODM. These people are telling you, and the president is saying, and the deputy is saying, who are we going to negotiate with? These people have got no leader, no structure. So who are we going to negotiate with? Nobody. So and they are saying clearly, this parliament has failed. they need to go home. The parliament has failed and they need to go home. Apart from the finance bill, do you know how many bills have been passed in parliament? Many, apart from the finance bill. So many bills have been passed without scrutiny. When they want to add their salaries, they add their salaries in the same parliament. In the same parliament. That is the reason why they're saying if Ruto is going, everybody else is going. We are cleaning up the mess.
Okay, Zalendo, just a point of correction, yeah? There is this thing that's going on. People are saying that
Belinda Achieng, Emmanuel Tata, Eric Ngeru, Cedric Oyaro, Edwin Otieno, Emily Chege. Hata Masai wako huko ndani. What are you saying? Hiyo soma tena. That is Margaret Oyuga. Daktari, huo ni tribe gani? Margaret Oyuga is from which community?
You know my point. My point is, and I made it, if that what I said as upset you because it sounds like I openly profiled, that's fine. No apologies, but it's a fact that majority of the people who have been featured in that clip are either Luos or Kikuyus.
I think Leo
is that by accident?
So read the names.
I can see the names, but is that by accident or what? Tell me.
Ibrahim Kamau, Emmanuel Tata, Cedric Oyaro, Mutisia, Kamau, Seini,
Otieno, Achieng,
Kea, Chege, Okoth, Adams, Okoth, Masai, Oyuga.
Well, ebu tuache hiyo nini kwa sababu you're such a hardliner, you will not believe what I'm saying, but that's what we're used to, those people of KK and the previous thing called Jubilee.
Leo, you can remove that from Leo, please remove that. Anyway, that is the thing.
Right. Another thing. You've just said there that this movement, okay, is amorphous and they have no leadership, because that's the fake story that has been going on. These young people, most of them are being led by tech-savvy individuals, and those tech-savvy individuals are actually holding conferences, in the cloud. They are submitting where they're supposed to meet. They're spreading the word, and that's leadership. But of course, you're used to leadership in rallies like Kamkunjis, what, and so you're missing all that, and you're looking for those tribal kingpins. These young people have some leadership, and I'm 100% sure that in due course, they'll work together with other age sets. They're not just going to work on their own, because that's just, they can't fill the vacuum on their own. They're going to work with people from different age groups and social networks, It's going to be impossible for the young people to emerge as leaders on their own. We have to accept that's going to be something virtually impossible. Okay. So while we're praising,
I wish this is a Gen Z. This 22 Jalala is a Gen Z who has sent a text. Maybe you can come to the studio and tell us what you mean and address Eli in particular, because you have been in those conferences. Please come. If you have time, please join the studio. Tell us what this movement is all about. You read that. I hope you read that. We are not worried about tribes no more. Tribalism is for.
Is that the guy? Is that the guy calling himself G from SMG?
No, I don't think so. I don't. This is somebody. I don't know him. Let him come. Let him come to the studio.
Okay. some people like to be anonymous, and I wouldn't force any anonymous entity to come into a platform because they have their perfect reason for doing that.
And Eli, this, I want us to come to terms with the situation that we are in as a country. Tomorrow there'll be demonstrations in Kenya. Kesho,
as in today.
That is today. Now, this Nsis from the forums I've been today in the afternoon, I have had the conversation in different forums. I have had the topics. I have had what their resolution. They have resolved that they are ejecting Ruto from power, and tomorrow they are going to State House, and they have check marks. Parliament done.
And then you say they don't have leadership.
No, but what are you? They don't have any. You are here saying they are being led by tech service. No, they get into a meeting in X and they start a conversation. They start a conversation and they contribute in the conversation. And
my friend, these boys and girls, men and women, they have leaders. Okay, and you see them not too far from.
Who creates those space meetings? That is leadership. If I start a WhatsApp conversation and invite you, I'm the leader.
Exactly.
So if you start a WhatsApp conversation, it means that you are the leader. Now that you started this conversation on today, Leo, are you the leader?
If something goes wrong, you'll have to come for me, because without me starting this conversation, then you people would not have been here maybe to throw words to each other or such kind of things. Obviously.
Leo Mwambie.
Some things are not written. Some laws are not written. Actually, they're just what is
you see this conversation. You need to understand why this conversation started.
They don't have patrons, but they have leaders.
Yeah. Thank you.
And who are their leaders? Since
Thank you, Leo.
Ni kina nani ndio viongozi wao vijana? Who are their leaders?
I'll give you example. The demonstrations are coordinated. These coordinators are leaders. We have people like Hanifa. We have people like Boni Fasumwangi. Those are coordinators. They don't just hold responsibility.
And Baraza, who is only 17.
Exactly. When you go to the Law Society of Kenya, it's being coordinated by people like Faith Odhiambo. So we have people who are coordinating. So the only thing is that they don't have a bigger patron like in the political parties, whereby you are waiting to hear from Ruto, to hear from Raila, to hear from Ruto, Uhuru, and such kind of things. But they're having leaders, they're having coordinators. Coordinators are leaders in their own capacity. We have people like Amerix that you are seeing there. We're having people coordinating the medical department in Japrado. We are having the social media commentators like Gabriel Oguda, the ones you are seeing being arrested there. So we are having coordinators. So leadership is not about people who are providing money. Like today, people are collecting money for the treatment. This money is going to an account. The account is registered. So is it going to an anonymous account?
And Leo, Leo, let's just remind Mzalendo here that also the court passed, made a decision yesterday in favor of the picketing rights of the Kenyan people, that any police officer or state securocrat who tries to abduct or do any extrajudicial activity is performing an act against the law. So they've been prevented from doing this. So the likes of Mzalendo, don't be afraid, okay, that anything you say or do may impact on your comrades or friends back home or family. No, just exercise your rights. Don't feel intimidated, because I know, Mzalendo, you're on our side. I know this very well, but you don't want to broadcast it. I don't know why, but I know you are on our side.
Which side are you talking about?
The side that you're not.
Are you talking about?
The side that you're not open.
signed up once a total.
No, Leo, this was not a question for you. Eli, which side is this that you want me to be on?
Just by the way, I'm drinking tea, so don't think that
It is okay, whatever it is you are taking. You need to add some more when the glass is done.
It's tea. Hata mimi pia najua.
No, we need
Mzalendo, it's interesting that Makiadi has already he ran away. But I'm actually, for the record, I'm very disappointed with the sentiments of Makiadi. Makiadi is in the forces, okay? And he knows in the forces, amri ni mawe. Sivyo ndio inaitwa. Sindio? Sheria ni mawe. Ukipewa an order, you follow the order. Now,
hey, Mise. No, Mise.
You've been talking.
Mise.
You let somebody finish. You are giving you time. I mean, it's decency.
No, ngoja. No. Huyu anasema kazi ya Makiadi hapa kwa forum kwa nini?
Hiyo ni Makiadi akuja jitetee, si wewe.
So lakini by the way, to put it on record, he's not in the Kenyan forces, so don't start blabbering here.
Unarmed for anyone who is in the forces, there is something that is common, right? It's like a pastor saying that you can go kill, right? When the pastors cannot kill, they are not supposed to kill. That is hypocrisy. That's double speak.
Makiadi hakusema hivyo.
What Makiadi said, let me tell you, and you know, you guys actually are very interesting. You have a way you present your you have a presentation that is very selective in a way that projects the message that you want to pass across, while actually rubbishing the other opinions. For example, you and me were talking about how Uhuru is not innocent either, but Makiadi came and said, I said Uhuru is a monster, okay? I said Uhuru is a monster, but I said you and me agreed that there are things that Uhuru did that were not justified anyways, and we were talking in relation to land, either land policy or land issues. So there's also the way when someone says that Parliament is there and can be destroyed and can be invaded anytime and occupied by the people, what does that mean in any nation? In the country that you live, if the people occupy the Parliament today and occupy the residence of the presidency of the president of that nation, what does that mean? How is that not treasonous? And then there's another issue that you have said here, and actually you guys read section article 37 of the Kenyan Constitution selectively, okay? May I read it back to you? It says that every person has the right peaceably. The word peaceably is a very compounded word that actually means a lot. And the definition is, if you do something peaceably, you do it quietly and peacefully without violence and anger. So the Constitution says every person has a right to be peaceably and unarmed to assemble, to demonstrate, to picket, and to present petitions to public authorities. What petitions were presented in Parliament? Destroying and stealing and looting the souvenirs and all things from Parliament, bringing Parliament wall down, you know, destroying the traffic lights, looting the shops. Were those petitions? So let us not read the Constitution selectively if we are honest and patriotic. We agree that the government has failed to a certain extent, right? We agreed that honestly, the government has not lived to the expectation. Maybe if you add up Kibaki's governance, you add up to Uhuru's governance, Ruto could be the collateral damage that the people of Kenya are tired. They're tired. The truth is, all those regimes have been stealing from the people of the Republic of Kenya. None of them, just begin from Moi. All of them, they have not been fair. They have not propelled development as intended and projected. Even under Vision 2030, we have not seen the upward trajectory of development as envisioned as envisioned. But what we are saying and what we are condemning, when you tell me that Parliament can be destroyed, because it belongs to the people, you are telling me that if Parliament costs $100 billion shillings to construct it, we can take 100 billion shillings and put it into the garbage because we can still go back and tax the taxpayers to build another parliament. That's what you're saying. And that's where we are disagreeing. We must condemn. You and me agreed. But Makiadi came here so viciously, saying that advocating actually for destruction, for violence and destruction. We are praising Gen Z, but we must also reprimand their actions that do not go hand in hand with the Constitution. And that's what we are emphasizing. We are not here from political divides, that you are from ODM and I'm from actually my political party is Amani, okay? And I'm not from UDA, for your information. So to actually come here and argue from political party stance is actually misguiding. So for me, I'm only concerned of that person who has worked so many years, 20 years, to raise money and buy a vehicle, bus, a public transit, and then you touch it within a second. How will that person regain? Don't you think that person will die out of depression? Or you're just saying, or you think that only is only when you are shot by a police officer?
That one we have already said. In my particular stance, I have already stated to you that I believe that the people who are behind the banning and such other violent things that is happening in the picture of the protest, they're not genuine, and also they're mostly planted by the state, because we know that they've done this before. They did it during Uhuru's time twice, during the campaigns and protests. They targeted civil protests and planted themselves there, and they did things like that. So it's not something that has never happened in Kenya. It continues happening. Now, of course, there are some people who probably were in the protest yesterday or the day before, and they were so angry, they were ready to put their lives in danger. I'm talking about genuine protesters ready to put their lives in danger because they have had enough. Okay? And now, when we speak about young or older people occupying buildings, because the original item of the protest was occupation, and occupation has been used for the longest time in different parts of the world. I remember when I was a student at some university in London, we occupied it for nearly 2 weeks, way back in the 1990s, as a protest, and occupation was allowed. It's a civil action.
Did you destroy property?
No, I don't remember that, but basically what we did was we stopped the administration building from working because we occupied the building. We were protesting about something that was genuine, and in fact we were protesting to side with the lecturers because their terms of their contracts had been their contracts were abused by the Tory government of that time in England. And occupation of buildings or occupation of spaces is not a new thing. It has been done before. And so when this movement in Kenya decides to occupy parliament, I think that the defenders of the so-called throne, the police and so on, don't really understand that civil action of occupation. They take it, as Ruto says, it's a treasonable offence. Occupation is just another way of saying that I am going to stop you from doing your work until you listen to me. So I am going to occupy your space. I am going to make sure that you don't carry on your normal duties. So I will occupy this building. And that was the original intention of those protesters. And it's not like a Western thing. Kenyans have done this before. I think even during the colonial times, when they were fighting against the British, colonial government, occupation was done in some very, civil ways. And in fact, even the trade unions that was led by the likes of Tom Mboya and the trade union movement, they did some kind of low-level, I would say subtle occupation. And they slowed their work as a way of civil disobedience. And so when you see people moving into parliament to occupy the building or the space, it is a form of saying this is civil disobedience. It's not saying that this is a form of treason that we would like to commit. This is just so the point where they started now shooting at these occupiers was the wrongest thing ever that you could do. Because what else were they going to do apart from occupying the building? They were not going to kill the MPs or they're just going to trash the place. We've had enough. That's all that was in their intention, to occupy, to make sure that you don't continue with your daily duties, because we've had enough of what you guys are doing. Your sellouts. Look at someone like Oscar Sudi.
Can I ask you a question? As you
yes.
Speak? When you occupy, right, and you make sure that there is no violence, there's no any activities that will suggest that you have bad motive or ill motive. Now, did we see that in Parliament, in the Kenyan Parliament? Do you think the police would have, in one way or the other, kicked out the people if they came and they occupied Parliament without necessarily, or maybe let me read for you the definition, so that the definition of treason, so that you can tell me whether it is something that it was something similar to what happened in the capital city of Nairobi, especially Parliament buildings and the Senate. So, according to to Google, treason, the crime of betraying one's country, especially by attempting to kill the sovereign or overthrow the government. Do you think?
Now, you see what you just said there? Attempting to kill the sovereign. In fact, the police kill the sovereign. The sovereign is the people. In Kenyan law, the sovereign power is vested through the people. It might be parliamentarians who carry that burden.
But you're digressing. You're digressing.
I know you're going to start telling me Ruto is the sovereign. Go ahead.
No. I'm not saying that. I've not asked you the definition of sovereign. I've read the definition of treason, and I'm asking you, was there anything synonymous or similar to this definition that happened in the Kenyan parliament during the demonstration? It's just a yes or no question?
To me, it's a no.
There's nothing. So, do you?
Yeah, because they did not go for anyone's life. The people who moved into parliament, they were not looking to kill anyone.
Yeah, your friend Makiadi said that.
As per your definition.
Yeah, your friend Makiadi, when he was here, he said that there were MPs, members of parliament, who were evacuated with ambulances, but the people got wind and they were able to whoop their ass, right? Are you saying that he was lying?
Okay, this could be, true reports, because yes, the members of parliament were seen, going to some tunnels, below parliament, under the building and so on and so forth. I'm not a witness about what happened, but I'm talking about the original intention of the occupiers.
We are talking about the end result. The intention, the original, the end justifies the means. You know that.
Sometimes.
So, not sometimes. The end justifies the means. Don't be evasive. So in this case, if the people who occupy, they actually didn't occupy, they stormed they stormed in and stormed out the occupants of parliament. Mm-hmm. Is that a correct statement?
Yeah, okay. So what you're saying is also the means justify the end, okay? So if the end is to achieve something, and so these people, their original intention, I will answer you, but their original intention was to occupy as a form of peaceful civic action. Why did the police start shooting?
Why are you blaming the police? Because the police every day interact with the people and they have never shot at them randomly if the people didn't trigger.
But they did yesterday.
Reaction.
They did the other day.
So the police can
shot.
Honestly, let us be honest to ourselves. If you're not doing nothing, if you're not disobeying the order from the police, right? Then the police will not shoot at you. Why would they? Why? Article 37 says that when you're going to demonstrate, you're going to do so peaceably, without being violent, angry, or without being armed. That's not what we saw. That's not what we saw with the demonstrators. We saw them throwing and hurling stones towards the police. The police have a right to defend and protect themselves
because they're being stoned
as well.
Man, this is ridiculous because you know yourself.
Don't you think the police are citizens of the Republic of Kenya? Don't you think?
Yeah, but who had weapons?
To defend themselves.
Who had weapons?
What do you call a weapon? Don't you think?
Come on.
A stone is a weapon?
This is just, we're going round in circles, right? There is a protest today, as in tomorrow, and if a similar action happens where the police just don't like the face of the protesters and start shooting around like the way they like to do in their trigger happy way, they're soiling the constitution. They're denying the rights that Kithure Kindiki talked about. He said that people are allowed to continue with their protests. Okay, so the people.
That's a very blanket way of putting it. Let us read word by word what the Constitution says. You're very
okay.
You generalize.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Can I ask you?
And let us.
Do you think that people should continue protesting tomorrow or not?
Absolutely, they should. But they should do so. In any engagement, there are rules of engagement. The Constitution has outlined the rules of engagement. Number one, it says that every person has a right. You can exercise your right, but your right has limitation. Don't forget that. No right is absolute. And that's the assumption that a lot of people who are against Ruto are making. No one who has a right that is absolute. Even actually, you have a right of life, a right to life, a right to live. But again, you cannot terminate your life as well. So there's a limitation. So if we are going by that, you're going to rely on Article 37, then let us follow Article 37 to the letter. What does Article 37 say? Article 37 says that every person has the right peaceably, and we have looked at the definition of what peaceably means: unarmed, to assemble, unarmed, to assemble, to demonstrate, to picket, and to present their petitions to the public, not to come and break the walls of Jericho. Okay? Those walls belong to the taxpayers, like me. I'm not interested with the demonstration. Why would I be taxed to rebuild the walls that Elias brought down out of anger and tantrums? That's what I don't understand. Don't I have a right as a Kenyan to question why my money or my tax is being used or reused in a project that was initiated and completed and commissioned? Think about those people who are not interested with the demonstrations, and let us be fair to them. They are Kenyans, and they also are entitled to the rights that are envisaged in this constitution.
Mr. Let me just, because we will go back and forth with Eli until tomorrow. Now, we need to jump into another issue here that people are not seeing. The rift between Gachagua and William Ruto, and the president making that announcement that all expenditures in government will be reduced, and specifically the DP's house, the renovation has to stop. You see, I think there is a lot of politics that is going on the background that we are not understanding. And we need to really get to the bottom of it and try to analyze what Gachagua's speech meant, contradicting the president directly. Yeah, you know, what I read from his speech, maybe I'm wrong, or really can correct me. The DP was clearly contradicting his president indirectly, that they have failed in as a government, but more so the security organs of which they aid have failed them. What do you think? And today I also heard that his security has been withdrawn, motorcade withdrawn. Yeah. What is going on?
Are you asking me or Eli?
Of course, Eli has gone mute. I'm asking you that question.
No, Eli would like to enjoy seeing confusion and chaos within the current government, because basically he does not believe that is a legitimate government, and therefore he has. I believe that people like him and the rest of the other people want to see this government fail so that they can justify that in the first place it was not supposed to be there anyways. That's not the case. We have to deal with what we have now. We live to fight another day. If by any chance our candidate did not get the chance to become the president, it's not all lost. There is always, every other 5 years we renew that opportunity. But to your question, I think, and that's why I'm saying I'm reading a lot of malice in these protests. this to me is sabotage to William Ruto, and this could be from within. If you have ever been a leader anywhere, even in a cattle dip, you will understand that even within your house, the people that you dine with, the people that you share secrets, they are the very same people who will quickly bring you down. And there is a likelihood, we have seen a little bit of exchange between the deputy president and the president. And this is the same way that we saw the path that William Ruto took when he was working with Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. However, you have to quickly learn that William Ruto was very clever, that he waited until they were elected on the second term, and then he went berserk after he knew that after all, he wasn't going to be removed from office in any way. So the statement or the speech by Gachagua, I didn't find it necessary. He did a lot of praising and saying my boss, William Ruto, my president, and all that. But in actual sense, he had a message that was cutting sharply, undermining the president. Once the president gave a statement that was very brief, the deputy president shouldn't have given another statement. And if he was compelled to do so, it would have just reiterated to what the president said. But that's not what we saw. Coming out, the president did not blame the security agencies, the intelligence, but but you saw Gachagua coming out so strongly and blaming the intelligence for not giving them the report they need. They actually don't need the report. They need to do the right thing. If they did the right thing, we shouldn't have been where we are. The reason why people are tired is that, yes, there is borrowing, there is a lot of other projects that are going on, but we are not seeing, there's long-term and short-term. We are not seeing short-term projects that revamp the economy for people to see visually that the government is working. All we have, most of the projects that we see are kind of long-term. We'll start feeling the effects after 5-7 years to come. But now people are hungry. People don't have food. People are frustrated. People can't afford. The cost of living is gone high. So the president needs, and his team needs to work hard and ensure that they have come up with short-term projects that will generate revenue and ensure that we are able to run the country as we are looking forward for the long-term projects to materialize. I think for me, Gachagua projects to become the president of the Republic of Kenya after William Ruto. But right now, or more than ever, he needs to work hand in hand with William Ruto. If he's expecting that the president will be impeached, or for some reason the president will resign or anything like that, for him to ascend to become the president of the Republic of Kenya, I think that is ill intention. And I think he needs to support the president in his agenda and rolling out his manifesto and achieving attaining the result that they intend to do.
Yeah, me, this is what I feel. I feel like let me go a bit tribal in my analysis and forget the issue of Gen Z for a minute. I feel Gachagua, or rather the Kikuyu community, feel that William Ruto will not under the presidency in the next few years. And the best way is to probably get rid of him very, very fast. And they continue with their path. That is my kind of reading from Gachagua's speech and what the president is trying to do and what he has been saying in the past. You know, the president has said categorically that he is thinking of having a deputy as a running mate. There's a possibility.
Share a link with Ellie. Share a link with Ellie. You can't log back in.
Ellie, please come back. So that's what I'm seeing. That this rift has been orchestrated, and it's really blown up beyond their expectations. So now what they're doing is firefighting. I think Ruto didn't anticipate this is going to happen in his regime. If things cool down and the dust settles, I can see a new alliance or a completely ruthless president called William Ruto coming back to deal with almost everybody that he thinks was interfering with his leadership. But again, more importantly, the message has already been sent by Gen Zs that they want to be led in this particular manner. They want a proper audit. They want the government streamed, as such that they don't have so many positions in government. This is what I wish to happen in our country, is that this can trickle down to the county governments, where there's a lot of wastage. Yet the bill was addressing an increment in allocation. Over 400 billion was to be allocated to county governments to share. So this is something that the president needs to address urgently, because if you don't seal the loopholes of corruption, then increase the revenue allocations in county governments, you are doing a bit of nothing. Yet in the county government, the allocations currently they are not able to account for what they are being given. Instead, it's just embezzlement. So this kind of wastage has been going on. And Eli, I hope that with the new bill, maybe, or I don't know what will happen, all these issues will be addressed. Really.
Okay, just before I retire to my bed, I need to go and sleep because I have a full day tomorrow.
Yeah, just your closing remarks, because we've been here for 5 hours.
Yeah, just on Gachagua and Ruto, they both say that they're honest people. You hear Gachagua waxing lyrical about how honest he is, and and people always fall for that. You know, I laugh. You know, this is a man who was caught out by none other than his friend Uhuru Kenyatta for the economic crimes that he committed in Nyeri. So I just think, and this is part of the reason why the younger people are protesting, because they're sick and tired of being told stories about what politicians have done and which way they've done it and so on. In fact, Gachagua's disagreements with Ruto, I personally don't care. And in fact, I think those remarks that Gachagua made today and the ones that Ruto made, I think they should still continue even further to be opposed to each other, you know, because I think this will work well for those people who don't want the two of them in power, you know. But so I don't really care, you know, whether Gachagua and Ruto get on. To me, I don't care. I just want Kenyans to be the ones who the consequences of any good development policies or anything that shapes up the Kenyan people in a better way is what I'm concerned about. I don't really care what the political elites in Kenya do in terms of their lifestyle and so on and so forth. Of course, they've cost the Kenyan polity a lot by their behavior, the allowances that they increased to furnish their lifestyles, especially those politicians in parliament. So when Gachagua is trying to look innocent and his friend Ruto trying to be quiet when all this is happening, for me, I just don't think that Kenyans are ready for that kind of nonsense. Gachagua is not innocent. Ruto is not innocent. Gachagua is now blaming the NIS officer as the person with the unique power that he should have furnished Mr. Ruto with. This is just games. What I know is that we need someone like Gachagua anyway to break the UDA party. And this would be an amazing feat, which I can only wait for to happen, because these people have really tortured Kenyans within this short 2 years. So I don't see anything productive that's coming out of the Kenya Kwanza regime.
Really, thank you very much, viewers. We come to an end of yet another session of Africa 24.
Thank you.
Eli, thank you very much for your views this evening. We don't take your presence for granted. Asante sana for being part of this wonderful discussion. We hope that tomorrow we'll also see you and analyze what transpired in the course of the day. But we pray for those young people who are going out there to demonstrate peacefully, and we pray for those officers who are also going out there and not to be trigger happy to kill these young people who are joining the demonstration. Otherwise, good luck. We are with you in spirit. We are with you financially if you want any kind of support, because this is your right. It is your time to make the right decision. So many things have gone wrong in this country. I remember the Kriegler report, the 8 pointers in the Kriegler report ought to have been addressed after the post-election violence in 2007. Some of those issues were not addressed. If they can come up now, we have reached that junction where these issues have all to be addressed. The issues of land, the issue of employment, nepotism, tribalism, those have to be addressed. Otherwise, thank you very much. Those who are on the comment section, asante sana. Thank you, Awesome, for being part of this great discussion. Mr. G, asante sana for being part of the show. Goodia, I didn't see you this evening, but if you were there early, asante sana for being part of this family. Black, kama kawaida, you didn't disappoint with the conversation there. Asante sana for everybody else. Andrew Bara, Eli's comment is factual. Thank you very much, Andrew, for being part of this discussion. Next time, please come to the panel and air your views in this panel. This panel, we don't discriminate whether you're from UDA, Kenya Kwanza. This is the platform for you to come and talk about your country. Guys, let us pray for our children who are going to go out there. Let us pray for the country. Let us pray for peace. Otherwise, thank you very, very, very much. And as we say it here in Africa, my condolences to the families of those who lost their loved ones in this struggle. I hope that you'll find some peace from the Lord. And poleni sana kwa wale walipatikana na hizi msiba, na Mungu atawafariji. Asanteni sana.
na tujenge taifa letu.